Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 231, Mass Shootings in America. Um, this is a bad weekend, and it was a bad weekend in so many different ways, but there was an El Paso Walmart shooting where at least 20 people died, maybe more than that, but a whole bunch of people were injured. And then there was a mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio, where 9 people died. 10 people died, including the shooter, but 9 people died, and a whole bunch more were injured, and these were almost back to back. This is the kind of weekend where you got to say your prayers. You got to hopefully support the people that need help and maybe send some dollars their way if you can do it. It's a wonderful thing that you can do. But what the heck, people? Like, what's going on? Now, a mass shooting is something, by the way, that should unite people. Like, it should actually make people think, this is awful. Like, this is ubiquitously awful. Everybody on the planet thinks it's wrong. Not everybody, but 99.99% of the people on the planet, if not even more than that, think it's wrong, and people should hold hands, get together, light some candles, and actually pray, or at least have good feelings towards the people, good thoughts towards the people that are affected by this crime. But instead, these things divide us yet again, and they always divide us. And I wanted to actually touch on who are the people that actually create mass shootings. Who are the people that are the perpetrators of these crimes. And they're typically young men. There are a lot of young white men that do it, but they're certainly not all young white men. There certainly are some minorities that do it. I don't think I've ever heard of a female or a woman that has done it, so it's almost all young men. Some of them are a little bit older, like the congressional baseball game. He was, I think, in his 50s or 60s. But most are in their 20s. And so the question is this: what commonality do these people have? Like, what drives these people? And the left will say they're extremist rights, and they're hell bent on forcing their view of the world upon other people. The extremist rights would say that it's the far left, the atheists and the anarchists that want to like wreak havoc and destroy social order. That's pretty good. I think both of those are pretty good descriptions. It is the far right and it is the far left. It's the extremists of the group. But that's not the thing that unites all these mass shooters. I mean, they're extremists, and the far left it has its own problems, and the far right has its own problems too. But the one thing that all these shooters have in common is they're not religious. They're nihilistic. They've essentially pushed off all meaning in the world. There's no such thing as any kind of moral code or moral order, and that really life is meaningless. And we're kind of floating on this planet. We're a bunch of atoms put together, and there's really no greater meaning in life other than existing. And these nihilistic people, they tend to be young males, right? But they're not all young males, and they tend to be the people that are pushed off by the world, that they don't succeed well in the world. They don't gain any acceptance in the hierarchy of the world. They don't have upward mobility. They don't get good jobs. They're not successful with women. They're not, they're kind of the beta males, kind of the bottom of the rung of the males. But they're also the ones that don't see any greater meaning in life. I can almost guarantee you that none of these people are churchgoers. None of these people believe that there's a higher authority. None of these people believe that there's eternal salvation or eternal damnation, that we're just slugs on this planet and we're marching along and we have no meaningful existence at all. And that, therefore, their misery, the misery that these people have, because they obviously do have misery, they're not joyous people. The misery that these people have is so bad that they blame humankind or mankind for their misery. And if mankind is to blame for their misery, if mankind is what makes these people tick, or the misery of mankind makes these people tick, then what is the solution to the problem? The solution to the problem is to actually shoot a whole bunch of people that belong to mankind. That if mankind is the problem, hopefully we can get rid of them. And if we can get rid of them, then we can actually hopefully solve the problem, or at least help the problem a little bit. Anyway, I don't know if everybody here knows what nihilism is, but nihilism is essentially that there's no religion, there's no meaning in life, there's no moral authority, that life is completely meaningless, and we're just marching through life as these shells of creatures. We're just animals, and like really, eventually, the end point of life is death, and then we're going to rot and like decay into the earth. That's the entire existence. And if you have that point of view, you can't be religious. I mean, if you are religious and you have that point of view, you've obviously you've been hurt some way, and that you don't believe what people are telling you. Now, the shooter in Dayton, Ohio, this is actually something that's very interesting. It's a little bit of a conspiracy thing at this point in time because it's very early, but he has some kind of social media network profile out there that a couple internet websites have been reporting was changed shortly after the shooting. That the guy in Dayton, Ohio, by the way, this guy was shot and killed by the cops within a minute of him shooting. I mean, we're talking snappy response, and the cops probably saved a lot of lives. But he had devil worshipping stuff on his website, far leftist stuff. He said he was a far leftist that was going to go to hell. Like that was his entire goal in life. And then within under 4 hours of the shooting, his social profiles changed to Trump supporter, anti-Semite, anti-immigrant, and so you get the point, right? And Epstein stuff and all sorts of other Trump conspiracy things. And if this is real, this is kind of a problem because if people are using the death of human beings to promote their own political cause, those people need to go to jail, and they need to go to jail quickly. And so I hope the FBI can ferret this stuff out. But nonetheless, who creates mass shootings? It's nihilistic people. That's who does it. People that don't believe any higher authority, and they believe that life is meaningless. It's not Roman Catholics, I can guarantee you that. It's not Jews. It tends not Muslims for political reasons, absolutely. But it tends not to be highly religious people. It tends to be people that eschewed and did away with the religion in their lives, and they've kind of come to this deep, horrible place called nihilism. And well, anyway, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe. Get the Mass, pray the Daily Rosary. And oh, by the way, if you know any nihilistic people in the world, those are the people you need to engage, and you need to do it with joy and peace and love, because they can be very dangerous people, and you need to bring them back to some kind of meaning in life. And oh, by the way, like how to get meaning in your life once you've gone into that hole of meaninglessness. These people, like, they sit in caves in their basement and they surf the internet all day long, and they really have no advantage in life. They're kind of the worst of the worst, in their lives. They're like in these deep, dark places. How do you get them back? That's confession, people. You can go to confession. You confess your sins to a priest, and you could say, listen, I've done all these horrible things, and I now want meaning in my life. And he can give you a big reset button. He could say, you're forgiven of your sins, go and sin no more. And oh, by the way, start doing some good. That's what confession's for. If you can get these people to confession, you could probably save some lives in the future. So like or subscribe, get the Mass, and pray the Daily Rosary. God bless.